Narcondam Island Expedition, a journey to India's most isolated birds. Birding at Narcondam Island isn't just a trip, it's an expedition into one of the most remote and untouched corners of the Andaman Sea. Rising dramatically from the ocean as a dormant volcanic island, Narcondam is the only place on Earth where you can find the critically endangered Narcondam Hornbill. With its massive casque and vivid plumage, this iconic bird rules the forest canopy, symbolizing the island's wild, unspoiled spirit. The isolation adds to the magic. Very few birders ever make it here, turning every sighting into a once-in-a-lifetime discovery. Our journey began on 18th March 2026 as we boarded a flight from Delhi to Sri Vijayapuram, a 4-hour journey that marked the start of this incredible adventure. The real expedition to Narcondam would begin the following day, but even the flight itself felt like a prelude to something extraordinary. As we descended over the Bay of Bengal, the view from above was simply breathtaking. Lush green islands scattered across crystal-clear turquoise waters, tiny untouched islets encircled by coral reefs, shining like emeralds in the vast blue sea. It was our first glimpse of the wild beauty that awaited us. We landed in Sri Vijayapuram around 9:30 a.m. and after a quick lunch, headed out to explore South Andaman. Our first birding session at Chatham Jetty rewarded us with sightings of Pacific reef heron, black-naped tern, and Pacific golden plover. Later, we moved towards Jangli Ghat in search of more target species. Here, we spotted Eurasian whimbrel, striated heron, and once again the Pacific golden plover. The real excitement came with our lifers, Chinese pond heron, and Doria starling. And within a lively flock of starlings, we were thrilled to pick out the beautiful chestnut-cheeked starling. By the end of the day, we had recorded 25 different bird species, including 3 lifers for me. It was the perfect start to our journey, setting the tone for what promised to be an unforgettable expedition to Narcondam Island. Day 2, 19th March 2026. Before beginning our journey to Diglipur in North Andaman, we made an early morning stop at Sippighat to explore the rich wetland habitat. One of the key highlights here was the Andaman teal, an endemic and elusive duck species. We observed it quietly moving through the shallow wetlands, blending perfectly with its surroundings, an exciting and rewarding sight to start the day. Other notable sightings included watercock and slaty-breasted rail emerging from dense marsh vegetation, warblers such as the oriental reed warbler and thick-billed warbler added to the diversity, alongside wetland birds like yellow bittern and pond heron. After a quick breakfast, we proceeded to the Chatham Jetty for our boat journey to Diglipur. While waiting for one of our fellow participants, we made the most of the time by photographing the elegant black-naped tern along the waterfront. At around 11:30 a.m., we set off on our journey from South Andaman to North Andaman. The sea was quite rough, making the ride bumpy and adventurous. Although we kept scanning the horizon in hopes of spotting pelagic birds, the only species we encountered during the crossing was the black-naped tern. After a long but memorable journey, we finally reached Diglipur around 6 p.m. By the end of the day, we had recorded a total of 43 bird species, marking a strong and eventful second day of the expedition. Day 3, 20th March 2026. The highlight of the expedition. The day we had been waiting for had finally arrived. At 4 a.m., under a blanket of clouds, we set out from Diglipur toward the remote and mysterious Narcondam Island, a volcanic island rising dramatically from the Andaman Sea, about 125 kilometers away. The first light of dawn slowly painted the sky, casting a surreal glow over the ocean. It was one of those rare mornings where everything feels still, almost expectant. As we approached, the island revealed itself through the hedge, rugged, isolated, and untouched. Although landing is restricted, we navigated as close as permitted, scanning every inch of the shoreline. And then, in a fleeting moment that lasted barely a second, we saw it. Narcondam Hornbill. The elusive Narcondam Hornbill, a species found nowhere else on Earth. Endemic to this tiny island, this striking bird with its massive ivory bill and casque is a symbol of isolation and evolution. With a global population limited to just a few hundred individuals, spotting one in the wild is nothing short of extraordinary, a true crown jewel for any birder. The excitement didn't stop there. Around the island, we also recorded common hill myna, white-bellied sea eagle, pin-tailed snipe. After spending nearly 3 magical hours drifting along the island's edge, we began our journey back to Diglipur. But the sea had more surprises in store. On the return leg, we encountered bridled tern, wedge-tailed shearwater, sooty tern, and then, soaring elegantly above us, a true mega-lifer, the red-billed tropic bird, circling our boat with its long trailing tail streaming behind like ribbons in the wind. Just when we thought the day couldn't get any better, the ocean came alive. Spinner dolphins. A massive pod of over 200 spinner dolphins surrounded our boat. Known for their acrobatic displays, these dolphins leapt out of the water in perfect arcs, spinning rapidly along their axis before splashing back into the sea. This spinning behavior is believed to be a form of communication and social interaction, and witnessing such a large pod performing in unison was pure magic. For several minutes, we were completely immersed in their world, a moment of wild, untamed joy. By evening, back in Diglipur, we slowed things down with a peaceful walk along the beach, soaking in the last light of the day. Here, we spotted Andaman coucal, collared kingfisher, common redshank. As the sun dipped below the horizon, we wrapped up the day with an incredible tally: 33 bird species recorded in a single day. A day of rare sightings, unforgettable encounters, and moments that will stay with us forever. Day 4, 21st March 2026. After the incredible success of our Narcondam Island expedition, we began our journey back from Diglipur, heading toward Rangat. The excitement of Narcondam was still fresh in our minds, but the Andamans had more to offer. At Rangat, we were greeted by sightings of the powerful changeable hawk-eagle, along with a brief but exciting glimpse of the elusive pale-footed bush warbler. The graceful Pacific swallow added a touch of movement. Along the way, we also spotted the elegant greater crested tern. After reaching our hotel in South Andaman, we headed out once again, this time to the rich wetlands of Sippighat for an evening session. The red-throated pipit stood out in the open fields, constantly on the move, its streaked plumage blending perfectly with the grass as it foraged actively on the ground. Every now and then, it would pause briefly, lifting its head alertly before continuing its quick, purposeful walk, always searching, always active. Nearby, A red-collared dove feeding in the field is a quiet and graceful sight. Moving slowly across open ground, it pecks gently at seeds and small grains, often pausing between steps to scan its surroundings. Its soft pinkish-brown plumage blends beautifully with the earthy tones of the field, making it appear almost part of the landscape. Usually seen alone or in pairs, its calm and unhurried feeding behavior adds a peaceful rhythm to the open countryside. One of the highlights was the oriental pratincoal, a master of disguise when it chooses to hide. As soon as it lands on open ground, it lowers its body and becomes almost motionless, relying entirely on its sandy-brown plumage to blend seamlessly with the surrounding soil. Even at close range, it can be incredibly difficult to spot, only revealing its presence when it suddenly takes off, breaking its perfect camouflage. We also observed a well-camouflaged pin-tailed snipe carefully feeding, moving slowly through the wet ground while blending seamlessly into its surroundings. The wetlands also revealed the shy yellow bittern, standing motionless among reeds. Waders added to the diversity, including the tiny long-toed stint, actively feeding along the muddy edges. And the alert little ringed plover, easily identified by its quick movements and distinct eyring. In the wetlands, the striking grey-headed swampfin moved gracefully through the vegetation, occasionally pausing to preen its feathers, its bold colors and long legs making it stand out beautifully against the lush green surroundings. Other sightings included garganey, Chinese pond heron, and Pacific golden plover, rounding off a highly productive session. By the end of the day, we had recorded a total of 44 bird species, another rewarding chapter in our Andaman birding journey, proving that even after Narcondam, the islands continued to surprise us at every turn. Day 5, 22nd March 2026. We began the day with an early drive to Kalatang, hoping to add more forest species to our checklist. The birding here was productive, with sightings of green imperial pigeon and the ever-active Arctic warbler. A major highlight was a rare encounter with the Japanese sparrowhawk, a thrilling sight in the dense forest. Other species included Asian glossy starling, red-breasted parakeet, and the coastal favorite collared kingfisher. We were also delighted to observe both male and female violet cuckoo, along with black-naped monarch, Andaman drongo, Alexandrine parakeet, and the endemic Andaman cuckoo-shrike. In the second half of the day, we moved to Sipighat, where the wetlands offered a completely different birding experience. Here, we photographed species such as red-throated pipit, pond heron, yellow bittern, and black bittern. The highlight here included multiple heron species like Chinese pond heron, Javan pond heron, and little egret, along with the graceful barn swallow. Later, at Ograbraj, the notable species included the striking pied harrier, the majestic white-bellied sea eagle, and grassland birds like Richard's pipit, waders such as Eurasian whimbrel, and pin-tailed snipe added to the diversity, along with the elusive oriental reed warbler. By the end of the day, we had recorded an impressive total of 70 bird species, making it one of the most productive days of the trip. Day 6, 23rd March 2026. Our final day in the Andamans was a short but meaningful one, with only half a day left for birding. We set out early toward Kalatang, determined to find one of our key targets, the elusive Andaman crake. Soon after arriving, The forest greeted us with our first sighting of the day, the vibrant ruddy kingfisher. While patiently waiting for the crake to emerge, we made the most of our time, observing and photographing species like the white-breasted waterhen, white-headed starling. The surrounding forest was equally alive with butterflies like the Andaman viscount and reptiles such as the striking Andaman day gecko. And then, the moment we had been waiting for, the Andaman crake quietly stepped out from the undergrowth, giving us a brief but unforgettable view. From Kalatang, we moved on to the Shoal Bay Forest Trail for one last immersive birding session. Watching a ruddy kingfisher feed on a crab is a fascinating glimpse into its adaptable hunting behavior. Despite being best known for feeding on insects and small vertebrates, this striking kingfisher is also skilled at foraging along coastal edges and mangroves. With patience, it perches quietly before swooping down to snatch a crab with precision. The bird then uses its strong, pointed bill to repeatedly strike the crab against a hard surface, breaking the shell before consuming it. This behavior highlights not only its strength and technique but also its ability to exploit a variety of food sources in island ecosystems. Another highlight here was the mangrove whistler, a subtle yet beautiful endemic often heard before it is seen. Its soft whistling calls drifted through the mangroves, and with patience, we managed to spot it moving gracefully among the dense foliage. We were also fortunate to encounter the freckle-breasted woodpecker, a striking woodpecker with finely patterned plumage. It moved methodically along tree trunks, tapping and probing the bark, offering a classic yet captivating woodpecker experience in this island habitat. Other memorable sightings included the vibrant black-naped oriole, the melodious Andaman shama, and the brilliantly colored ornate sunbird. By the end of the session, we had recorded 30 species for the day. Across the entire trip, our checklist reached an impressive 121 bird species, a testament to the incredible biodiversity of these islands. By noon, we returned to our hotel, marking the end of our Andaman journey, and began our journey back to Delhi via Kolkata. Birding in the Andaman Islands, and especially the expedition to Narcondam, is more than just a checklist, it's an immersion into some of India's most pristine and isolated ecosystems. From the dense evergreen forests of South Andaman to the rugged, untouched slopes of Narcondam, every moment carried a sense of discovery. The chance to witness endemics like the Narcondam Hornbill and the Andaman crake in their natural habitats is both a privilege and a reminder of how fragile and unique these ecosystems are. Thank you for joining me on this birding journey. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for the upcoming trip highlights and more birding adventures.